All right, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome on back. Continuing along our Monday, brand new start to the week, brand new start to the month, June 1st here, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, guys. And welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin, as always. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Great to see everybody coming on in here. Bonnie, Andrea, buongiorno as always. Chuck, Dennis, Jean, Lawrence, great to see you all loud and clear, unanimous. Great to see everybody in our trading room. And of course, streaming across social media here, guys, Facebook and YouTube. Welcome on back. Just to begin, and rather, let me just begin by saying for all of our students here, I know that you guys have had enough of me teaching across the last 2 weeks. Now you have the pleasure of seeing Fausto trade the live market open, which you just did before this morning. And of course, this afternoon, the market closed. So we will be continuing the phase 3 stock course lined up this afternoon. Our trusty CTU moderator account will look to post that link shortly after the picks are posted. But with that in mind, though, guys, I'd like to just hop right into the picks. Of course, we have the Dow still up 63 points going into the afternoon. I say that kind of surprisingly. Okay, I'm not going to go into, of course, everything that had unfortunately transpired over the weekend, but you would like to think perhaps there'd be a little bit more sell-off with that in mind. So, I mean, hey, I'll take it. We have a very strong market going into today. Beautiful pop and breakout shortly after the open, and the markets, although pulling back right now, have been fairly strong, at least thus far today. So what we'll do is just go from top to bottoms, guys. I see this one stock, Sama. I saw it halted a few times. Is this now? Yeah, 232. Wow. I wonder, did this just reopen up or what? No, not even. This thing has just been kind of moseying its way up across the afternoon. This was halted, I think, early in pre-market. I didn't see this until right now, at least on the percent gainers list. It's kind of focused on a few trades I'm in, a few trades that we were just calling out here in the trading room. This thing's got a wacky daily chart. As well. I don't know if this is a new IPO or not. Schultz Special Purpose Acquisition Warrants, by the way. Warrants, meaning that there is a regular just SAMA here. Yeah. Reminds me of that VTIQ stock. I mean, hey, VTIQ is like a crazy move. Back, a couple weeks ago, you could see, much stronger trend on the daily chart here, at least a week and a half ago, 2 weeks back. And at least for now, I have to say VTIQ moving up pretty nicely here. Maybe we come back to this. We'll find this on the gainer side, at least for right now. But going back to SAMA and CETX. Oh, I was wondering what I just got filled on. All right. We got a few things running, guys. So perhaps we'll just scrap this SAMA for right now. But it does appeal to me. I mean, not just that it's up 288%. But the liquidity isn't terrible in the order book. It's moving up nicely to the high right now, 115. I feel like that other one, SAMA, just without the warrants, would be the one that I would look to follow. And my stop is set on that CETX trade. So, Pat, if we see a false breakdown here or breakout coming up, I'm going to get stopped out for a 6-cent loss. SAMA, I mean, again, same thing. We'll come back to this. I want to see if there's anything looking stronger at this point in the day. Of course, CETX here. A lot of sell-off coming in. Give me a split second here. So as you guys could see, the CETX trade just popped above 3. That was the major resistance that we were looking at the time. You got to figure there's going to be a pullback coming up, though, on this trade. So this thing needs to pop right now or it's going to make the drop. I might just bail, because otherwise support might be even off the chart here at 293, just across the last few minutes here. Recent pop. I'll hang in for right now. Stop is already set, so I mean, if anything, maybe I just move it. It's a high percentage trade off the breakout from 3. I mean, if I came to this right away, I would have closed potentially up 13, 12 cents. So that's why you always hear me scream from the top of my lungs. My best entry is to buy a stock or after they break through a major resistance as the stock is going up. All right. And there's going to be another one of these coming up pretty shortly right now, guys. I'm going to set myself up here. So yeah, CETX, needless to be said, just given this pop at least, we'll put this on our list. This was very active across the morning. And I've got to switch back to my pre-market charting here first. Big volume just got filled off 3. I mean, just on the last minute bar alone, over 1 million shares. I mean, way more than 1 million just combined between the buying and selling. Yeah, this might stop me out here. Yep. I just got stopped out. I raised my stop to 298. I'm going to keep this up, and maybe the opportunity arises, I'll jump back in. All right. So CETX we'll put on our list still, of course, still very interesting going into the close. Hopefully it can hold support off of 3 here coming up and ultimately look to make a higher high. All right, aside from the CETX, guys, we have the DGLY trade. DGLY was a big move earlier today. DGLY came out with news. Actually, no, rather not. It wasn't even news specific. It was just interest from, of course, I think Fausto had brought this up during the morning meeting, and again, unfortunately, history has repeated itself in terms of these, riots, and of course, based off of racism and everything else. So, the last time we saw this stock, DGLY, was back around 14-15. That is 2014-15 with, the Ferguson, Missouri riots, and this was the company that made the police body cams, if I'm not mistaken. Ended up being a huge move up at the time. And, here in this case, we ended up seeing a really big squeeze up in pre-market. I mean, this thing like topped off at $5, right? Yeah, I think a little over 5. Very light volume, just early in the morning. So we knew that this would be pulling back. We were hopeful of a pop, though. And we got our pop in pre-market at first here when it broke underneath 2, when it moved back over 2. That was a nice pre-market trade to focus on at the time, and of course moved up afterwards. Hey, if we go back to 2014, guys, long story short right now is that we're not going to put this on the afternoon watch list. I wouldn't expect this to make a huge second move up going into the close, at least today. But, 2014, you can say. So, this is going to be one that we're going to focus on. Unfortunately, we have to, but, it does provide us good opportunity to make money. Right now, we're not going to put this on our list, but definitely keep this in mind day over day, for this week, next week, and likely going forward. All right. AESE, another esports company. It's funny. I never even realized that until right now. Goes to show how little I focus on in terms of the fundamentals of a company, news-wise, company-wise. I mean, I focus on, volume and trend and momentum more importantly. So I say that surprisingly, but also kind of not at the same time. GMBL, former runner back from last week, Friday, ended up making a huge squeeze up. And this AESE trade, I didn't realize till now, esports, I guess another company to focus on. So, hey, if you don't know, now you know. But ended up popping shortly after the open. Fantastic trade at the time. Again, kind of similar to DGLY. The volume crapped out quick. This thing, pulled back pretty nicely, and I don't expect for it to make a second big move. So good stock to keep on the side list again, but for right now, I'll pass. All right, AMRS. This thing is going on our list right away. I got signaled from Benzinga Pro, like smack in the middle of the day here, just off a sudden pop, and we ended up jumping in this trade. I think it was myself, Jerry, Pat, Ben. A few of us, Fausto, caught on just around a little over 5. From that point, ended up making a huge run up. So this was a hell of a trade, kind of during an odd time of the day, that is kind of lunchtime, smack in the middle of the afternoon when not much is typically going on. So I think what happened with AMRS, and let me get the news up here just while I can. I posted it a moment ago. What time is that pop at? 1 o'clock. All right, I'm scrolled back a little too far. Here we go. Where are we here? Oh, I don't know if I posted the news for it. I thought I did. Well, we got some time right now. Let me go into the Benzinga Pro. I want to get this out right now. I feel like I have to now. So the AMRS trade, maybe it was something else that I was looking at. Huh. Pretty interesting. So I'm looking at Benzinga Pro right now, guys. Doesn't really show much in terms of news. Circuit breaker halt, meaning it moved up too much too quickly. Got halted, resumed at 109. Had to have been something else I posted the news on. Maybe it was AVEO. My apologies on that. Nevertheless, we don't follow the news as much in terms of a day trade. We focus, of course, you could do that for swing trading. Nevertheless, with AMRS, this thing's moving back up, at least heading into the afternoon. So steady trend, still trading a lot of volume per minute. So for those reasons alone, we'll put this on our watch list. Now, to go further, at least on this trade, again, we do have class coming up this afternoon at 3:05 Eastern Time, Phase 3, Lesson 2. But with the AMRS trade, I want to just go into Bookmap very briefly. It looks like we have some resistance on the chart right around 575 or so. I mean, that's kind of expected with a 25-cent increment on the way up. 6 is your major resistance. We ended up seeing a pop and drop and a lot of volume filled off the top there. Looking on Bookmap right now, just taking a quick peek. I'm doing this on a separate screen here, keep in mind. Right now we have resistance not at 75, as much more volume on the ask at 585. 17,500 share order currently on the ask from Bookmap. That again is our level 4. Hey, we're going to put this on our list right away. Like I said, just keep that price in mind, 585 as a potential minor resistance in between where it's at right now and up ahead at 6. All right, MYOV, this thing's been pulling back down pretty nicely, perhaps due for another breakout. I mean, very steady trend on the way up. My Event Sciences, I saw a couple of us jump in and out. I mean, it's easy for us to say, 40, 50 cents a pop, given the type of range it's had across the day. It's not too often that we see a stock go from, 12 all the way up to 19 straight shot without minimal pullbacks. Or with minimal pullbacks, rather. So, we ended up seeing this make a really nice squeeze, basically, like I said, to 19. Whole number, failed to break higher here, and eventually ended up breaking down below support 1850, held that as resistance. And, like I said, it pulled back further. It seems like it's kind of at the next support, roughly around 1650. This consolidation from the chart, the volume breakout here as well. I'll keep this on the side for right now. I'll come back to this at the very end. Definitely more of a level 4 to 5 stock just based on the spread. It fluctuates alone. And then, aside from that, like I said, to see a stock make this big of a move up, you got to expect a pullback. So here we are, but is it going to hold? Or is it just going to keep tanking? So we'll come back to this. I want to go through the rest of the list first, see if there's anything else looking better. Apron. This is looking much better, at least, nice pop from 12 up to 1250. Next resistance ahead here. Seems pretty choppy around that 1250. So for right now, just be a little careful, guys. This thing's been kind of light volume since the huge squeeze up we had back at the end of March. If you see on the daily chart, traded like 25, 30, 40 million shares, a few days in a row and then pulled back. This thing's making a very nice run up going into the afternoon. It just seems like we have some resistance, not necessarily at 1250. Seems like 1260-ish, 1265. Nothing really in terms of big prints filled, especially not on the bid. Maybe 1264 here, 1,000 shares. That's it, though. All right, well, for now, again, Apron we'll put on our list, just given the range across the day, and it's still holding pretty strong right now. Let's see what else we got. I feel like we got a lot here, guys, that's up, 10, 15+%, and it could be near the highs. But we got to be a little selective going into the afternoon. I mean, it's only Monday. We don't really have as much out company-wise. The market's been pretty active today, so we've had a lot of stocks from our side list move and, some others as well. We'll get to DVAX coming up here pretty shortly, I believe. All right, RWLK, I like the range on the daily chart, not necessarily the 1-minute chart. This thing has taken a smacking across the end of 2018, and it's been pulling back gradually since. Just check in with the CETX really quick, guys. It's not looking too good for that one now. I'm happy I got out. Down to 275. Pat, you took a 5-cent loss also? Pat, what was your entry on the trade? Pat is in our trading room right now. He said he just got stopped out. Entry is probably over 3 on that trade. High percentage level in terms of volume, right? You focus on the trend, you see the breakout, you try and jump in, you expect to move, and at least we had a chance to try and take somewhat of a profit. I'm content with the loss at least, right? Pat said he got in at 302, which means his exit was at 297. Well, a lot better compared to where it had pulled back down to, Pat, 270, 265 almost. So really, really good trade, really good loss. All right, let's see. Let's keep it going right now, guys. What else do we have here? We're going to keep the keep the CETX on our list. GNUS. Now, this thing's been a tease all day, and I have to say more so going into the late morning, early afternoon parts. We saw a sudden breakout on this trade off of like 250, 256, 260, the highs, and failed to really break higher at the time. I didn't jump into this. I didn't get teased enough to jump in where I could have. It's been holding underneath 267 pretty nicely, which is a penny off from the high. 268. So, for right now, I'm going to put this on our list. The GNUS trade, Genius Company. We ended up seeing them make a huge move last week. News came out also, I think, about direct offering where they ended up tanking, but of course, I guess strong enough to the point where we ended up seeing another big squeeze up, gap up this morning, and here we are now. So it's hard to not put this on for the meantime. All right, what time are we at right now, guys? 2:46. We got about 20 minutes until class, basically. Let's keep it pushing on the gainer side. DVAX doesn't get as pretty as this in terms of a chart. Higher lows moving up towards the high of the day, 257. Right now, currently on the offer, at least through the matrix, there's not too much near the high there. Let's go back into Bookmap, and I'll show you, or at least tell you guys from a separate screen. Bookmap, we have a couple of orders on the ask, not really one in particular. There was a much bigger one at 750 that got filled. You can see it's been pretty shaky around that price. So, a couple of things here. Perhaps we're going to see this just make a sudden blast right now, or perhaps it ends up, going the other way pretty soon. 750 was a critical resistance. We ended up seeing a ton of volume on the offer there earlier, shortly around 2 p.m. Eastern time. So I thought that was going to be the move. It was not, and pulled back. And at least for right now, this thing is pushing back up pretty damn nicely. So I'm hoping that this thing just makes a sudden blast right now as we speak. So I'll put this on our list, certainly. It's been a fun stock to trade across the day. And this is also one that we ended up trading, like I'd said a week and a half ago. Big move in the pre-market, dumped off. So this year was actually a really good short opportunity at the time. I forgot what the news was. Good news came out that led to a big pre-market run up. And at the time, it wasn't sure. It was shortable, meaning it wasn't hard to borrow. Here we go. This might be what I was hoping for. And, at the time, very nice move. And of course, yesterday or Friday, rather, it was a big squeeze up. And, this morning as well. And of course, here near the highs. So this one's going near the top of our list, the DVAX trade. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? On the gainer side, at least for right now, up 19.94%. We got a lot of stuff still remaining here, guys. DBD new high. It's just trading not really as much volume. Some's coming in right now, rather, but I'll just skip over this for right now, see if there's better opportunity just going down here. And it's not even just a bunch of stocks that are up. A lot of familiar names. UAVS we've traded fairly recently. SM. Energy stocks are doing pretty nicely right now, it seems like. SM, at least in particular, up 18+% at the highs. It's hard to not put this one on at least. So SM, and then what else do we have? I think we check in with oil also. I saw WLL trend up pretty nicely earlier, failed to cleanly pop from 85. Now that one's pulling back a bit. All right, well, I don't know if it's the sector in total or if it's just SM. We'll keep it moving though. COTY news came out earlier, or in pre-market rather, about, I think it was in relation to a CEO switch, and we ended up seeing a bit of a shake and then a huge pop afterwards. I'd say it's another stock similar to the DVAX trade and similar to AMRS, where it's just trading a lot of volume per minute right now. So with that in mind, I'll put this one on our list just for the meantime. Nice tradable level 1 to 2 stock. A tight spread, liquid order book. It is shortable, so if it goes the complete other way and tanks, then at least you have that. But for right now, of course, we're focusing on the move back up towards the highs. Got an apron pop. I just caught that on Benzinga. Going back to Blue Apron. Nice squeeze up here. Beautiful. All right, so that one's already on our list. So I just wanted to show you guys that quickly while I could. Another familiar name, Trill. This thing's been all day. Damn. It's hard to not put this one on as well. I feel like I'll be saying that a lot here. All right, let's see if there's anything else just across the bottom of my gainers list for the meantime. VTIQ coming back to. DVAX just made a big pop also right now live. That's what I was hoping for. NVAX level 5 stock. So, you'll hear me say this frequently here during this meeting. For a lot of these expensive level 5 stocks, you know who you are if you've been successfully trading it. So, of course, definitely a good option for level 4 to 5 traders, more advanced traders here in this trading room. Just had the pop on DVAX. Hopefully it doesn't pull back now, go back the other way. But a nice start, at least for right now, on DVAX. All right. Let's see anything else on the gainer side. That might be it for right now. Maybe MGNX. Moving up steadily. I went over to this one, as you could see on the daily chart, another crazy runner that we had back in the beginning of May. Stock went from $9 essentially to 27, and then it was shortable too. So we caught it on the way down the following day, and long again. So this stock's been very interesting to follow on and off. More off than on. I mean, if you see the volume spikes there, it's been tailing off day over day. So we haven't really followed this as much in the last few days, the last week. I like the trend. Definitely a level 5 stock, cheaper though. So you know what? I'll come back to this. Probably put this one on out of the ones on the side list at the end. But let's just go through quickly here, guys. The losers list, the side list as well, and if anything else otherwise that you would want me to look at. Really a bunch of stuff hard to borrow to begin. ABIO in particular. What makes the top percent gainers list one day makes the percent losers list the next, and unfortunately the day after that too. So this one is definitely not on our radar for the afternoon. Perhaps if it eventually finds support and begins to squeeze back up, maybe we'll look to follow it again, but not going to put my eggs in that basket. All right, another few here. Hertz, just big old loser right now, continuing to drop. GMBL we went over already. Maybe at some point this week form a runner, dropped off today, and perhaps later on this week you'll see the esports stocks run again. We have that one also, like I just mentioned before, guys. We'll come back to that at least before we finish up. Party City, not really doing much. All right, what else do we have here, guys? VBIV here, at least shortable. It's at 2, big number, just pretty slow. All right. Honestly, that was a pretty quick rummage through, but there's not really too many familiar names on the loser side for right now, guys. Not really too many good ones in terms of volume and price, perhaps as well. So if there's anything else that you would want me to look at otherwise, just let me know. Type it here in the chat board. That goes just for all of us here in the trading room, and of course, social media, you guys as well. Anyone tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, just let us know quickly here. And CLH side list stock, just to begin. This is what I'm going to show right away. Ended up making a nice squeeze off 17, right? So, very tradable stock. It's up big still, 9.5%, trading a lot of volume, but maybe we come back to the markets. Just taking a look at the Dow, maybe the S&P quickly, just once more before we finish up. Maybe this is why we do that, because I started this meeting off and the Dow is beginning to slip a little bit here. Is at 25,440. Now it's, jumped up just about 50 points higher. So, it seems like a few stocks are moving up with the market right now, right? NCLH bounced. I'm assuming UAL is going to bounce. I'm going to assume the casino stocks like Penn National Gaming. It's not up a whole lot, but it's pushing up. Let's take a look at Fausto's DraftKings. I mean, well, a lot of our DraftKings, but Fausto, we've been watching this, since the IPO. So I say Fausto's. He's, I think, still in this trade, swing trade wise. It's still near the highs. It's pretty nicely. If anything, I'm going to put this on our list. The DraftKings, it's not going to be near the top, but in hopes of a breakout higher, it's going to be all-time highs. And it's still fairly not too expensive. DGLY dropping, says Mark. Oh, yeah. Right underneath 2, right? So, unfortunately, that one is not really looking too great. Unless if it gets suddenly squeezed back through 2 and run much higher at that point, that would be the only chance that I see. But for right now, I'll hold off on putting this just on the main list. If you see it over 2, then perhaps call it out. But for right now, I feel like there are some others that provide better opportunity just right off the bat. GNUS, Apron, AMRS, DVAX, a lot of these. I mean, again, DVAX, just not to beat a dead horse. This thing is doing great right now. So never really pulled back too far towards 750. And continuing to go. So that one is, definitely one I'd have more interest in compared to DGLY, at least for right now. Nice pop on Pixie. So, Pixie, looking at this one quick, you could see a lot of funky activity on the daily chart. Big gap up back a few weeks ago and ended up running up nicely. But, was it total pump and dump, Philip, right? Philip J in our chat board just made this call out. A very nice call out. Just be careful with the pump and dump. We've seen this over and over, guys. And I'll tell you, besides today, and maybe a few days back, a week ago or so, prior to this big run up and big breakout where it traded 39 million shares, the stock was trading only about a few 100,000 shares on average a day, 536. So that's fairly light in terms of what we typically scan for. A lot of these small cap stocks tend to be pump and dumps, meaning where, you see some people pump up the stock price quickly to take smaller profits over and over, or perhaps just at some point you'll tend to see them dump off and sell off and crush the stock back down, leaving a lot of us and other day traders hanging. So, Pixie, it's going to make the list. Hopefully it doesn't do that. Knock on my wooden desk here as I say that. And hopefully this one ends up just being a beautiful run. I mean, I love the range on the daily chart just to see a stock go from, 6 to 15 or 16, then back down, and perhaps to squeeze the gap, fill the gap on the way back up. So yeah, this one will make the cut for right now. DVAX is going to make the top, though. That thing's already at 780, guys. DVAX made a 30-cent push since we started this meeting. All right, and Pat cleaning up. He made up on his MRNS loss. I need to do that myself, Pat. But Pat picked up 19 cents. He jumped in at 752. Been doing pretty good the last few days, Pat. Very nice job. All right, guys. I think that just about does it. Let me check social. All right, what do we have here? Let's see. ZM was a nice run, says Peter. Absolutely. Let's look at ZM pretty quickly. You're right, and that didn't make the gainers side. It wasn't up that much percentage-wise, perhaps, for me to look for it there. But, of course, a huge run-up. Another stock, much like we ended up seeing DraftKings breaking all-time highs. Zoom, has become a major player within the market now, right? I think that just their valuation alone makes them one of the most valuable stocks just out there currently. And not to say across the entire grand scheme of things, like compared to Berkshire Hathaway. But, in terms of, a lot of the stocks within, I think this is in the NASDAQ 100, a lot of the stocks within the NASDAQ 100, this is, a bigger player now at this point. Pretty crazy to see. Nonetheless, ZM, yeah, you know who you are if you're following this stock. So, I'm not going to put this on the list just given the price, but if it breaks out over that 205 level, be on the lookout. All right, so ZM is always discussed, guys, just in this chat room nowadays. More on the swing side, but, maybe trade a share. Take Fausto's recommendation, trade one share, and that's it on this one. But we're going to try and keep our focus as far as day trading these, some cheaper ones than this at least. All right, so all in all, guys, maybe we'll go back to MGNX, but 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stocks to work with. That's pretty good, at least. I thought I was going to have like a 20 stock traditional Josh watch list. All right, check in on MGNX here quickly, and I think we'll finish up. It's right there. It's at 22. It's looking pretty good, guys. Big move, at least on the way up. Thinner order book. I understand that, but if there is room to add one or two more, I feel like this one would be one that would do it. So we'll put this MGNX, just former runner, on our watch list going into the afternoon. DBD pretty stagnant right now. Scratch that. And MYOV is not going anywhere, at least just yet. Ben says MPC picked up 40 cents. And he's in from 36. Nice pop. Nice run. Seems like a very tradable stock. Again, we have a lot that's up, so percentage-wise, this wouldn't make the cut as far as some of the others. But looks like petroleum squeezing back up for right now, guys. Maybe check in on my WLL. Both are petroleum stocks. I was going to assume that WLL is squeezing back up here, but this one certainly is not. Maybe check in on some other oil stocks, perhaps now. Maybe like Apache. No, that was pretty strong earlier. Now, with that in mind, Oxy. Same thing. They're moving fairly similarly. Great stocks to keep on the side list. I think I'm going to keep the list as is, but these are great stocks to keep on the back burner, though. All right, much like my NCLH. All right, guys. So all in all, now 11 stocks on the list. Still fairly decent. All right. So I'll post and tweet the list right now. That goes across the board to everyone here live in the trading room, and of course live just on social. And as well with that, just keep in mind for all of our students here in our trading room, all of our gold, platinum, diamond students here at CTU, look to continue the phase 3 stock course coming up in just about 5 minutes. Let's get going, guys. Let's try and make some money going into the end of this Monday. For anyone streaming on social media that would like to learn more about what we're offering here at Cyber Trading University, whether that be the online trading room, the online course room, make sure that you guys call the phone number down below, and one of our education advisors will gladly pick up and provide more detail. All right, guys, take care.